The real fee, the real deal behind their existence, it is not that what is reflected in the master service settlement. What they are really what part that they are really doing there in the Federal Republic of Mojave, it is to the fact that they know that they combine people, they make advertisements, they make seminars, they recruit the elites in Federal Republic of Mojave, so that these people can be part of the Crypto Exhaustion Company Limited, to which they send in a subsidiary, so that they can earn that large amount of money to the group. So it is actually why we are taxing. It is because of the taxable nexus. It is a connection. That is the link between this Crypto Marketing Company Limited together with the Crypto North Company Limited. That is the link. That's why we are taxing them. Because if you go through the scenario item by item, you might find that the Crypto Company Limited was incorporated in 2018. Crypto North Company Limited was incorporated in 2020, and Crypto North was actually incorporated in 2022. Thereby, beginning with the 2022, the Crypto Marketing Company Limited was successful to onboard 50,000 people that are using the digital platforms of the Crypto North. These 50,000 people earned the group $120 million United States dollars. If you put it to the exchange rate of today of $2,500 per dollar, you might find that it amounts even to 300 million or even 400 billion. So that's a lot of money to spend. So actually, that was in 2022. The same was done in 2023. The same was done in 2023. And if you see, as the time goes, first in the beginning they incorporated 50,000. They onboarded 50,000 users. In the next year, they onboarded 300,000 users, 6 times. Then, in the third year, they onboarded 700,000 users, multiple, and gaining a Crypto North Company Limited 15 billion. So if you sum up this amount, honorable shareholders and members of the board, you will get 15.97 billion. All of this amount is paid to the Crypto North Company Limited and the group.
So what I'm hearing from your submission, is that the government of Mojave is very much concerned with the profits that are being earned by American companies in Ghana.
No.
Then why is 15 billion relevant to your country?
Because the future is...
If I remind you of your own submission, you said that they created a nexus by virtue of their arrangement. And that nexus makes this 15 billion fair game for MRO tax. That's what you said right now. That's what you spent a lot of time establishing. Is that correct?
Yes, because, yes, I said that.
So that's correct.
Yes.
Then what is this nexus? What is your basis in Mojave tax law that you have a nexus to tax profits from another jurisdiction?
So if you go to the Income Tax Act and Section 4 together with Section 6 of the Income Tax Act, Section 4 provides the imposition of Income Tax Act. Then Section 6 of the Income Tax Act provides the charging section. So here it is what is taxed to the imposition of income tax. Then Section 6 provides for the charging section as who is taxed. So you can find that there is a principle that all residents, or everyone who is a resident is charged to his or her worldwide income. But everyone who is not a resident is only charged to the source principle. So you can see the nexus that is established here between. You can see the nexus that is established here between this Crypto Marketing Company Limited and the income that is created here, and then it is transferred to Crypto North Company Limited. And also, if you read the facts, you might find that they were even sending payments, they were even verifying payments and sending the same through a Turkey trade lane. So all of this money, Crypto Marketing Company Limited was making some kind of collection, and then, but all the profits, all the transactions ultimately benefit the group. But here in Mojave Revenue Office, we tax them only on the marketing services to which they have structured the transaction source to escape the real tax liability.
Great reference to law counsel. Thank you. So you're telling us who is the resident who is taxed on worldwide income here, who
So actually, if you look at the list of residents,
give me the entities, Council.
okay. So the Cryptoflix Marketing Company Limited, was a company incorporated in the Federal Republic of Malawi.
And
So,
they are resident or non-resident?
So Cryptoflix Marketing Company Limited was a resident of Malawi.
And they are taxed on what, as per your submission?
As per my submission, they are taxed on the worldwide income.
And their income is from marketing services, based on what you told this very.
Yes, their income is from marketing services. That's what they have registered here with the
Great, Council, okay. Now, what is the other entity who is taxed on source? Because you've said that entities that are not resident are taxed on source. Who is it?
the entities which are charged based on source principle. The entities which are charged based on source principle, these are not resident entities.
Who is it here in this case?
So if we say that if we structure this establishment of the ownership, Cryptoflix Marketing Company Limited, Cryptoflix Company Limited was incorporated in Chile, not in Vietnam, so it is not a resident entity in the Federal Republic of Malawi.
So which entity, Council? I don't really want to surround the entity.
Cryptoflix North Company Limited.
If you're creating, okay, let me try to explain. If you're creating a nexus for the 15 billion and in Kenya, based on it having a source in your country, which you allege, then who is this non-resident? Is it the Chilean company? Is it the Kenyan company? How does this nexus come to be?
Chilean company, together with the Kenyan companies, these are non-residents. Chilean company, together with the Kenyan company, these are non-residents. But the Cryptoflix Marketing Company Limited is not.
So you're effectively saying that the marketing companies are residents who will tax as residents. I'm also saying that you tax the other two entities. I'm not very clear.
Actually,
when you're referring to the source, are you referring to it as in the context? I have not seen the notice for taxing the other two entities.
Actually,
I'm a bit concerned about the resource of the families here or the non-residents tax. Need to tax the other two entities.
thank you, President and members of this tribunal. Actually, what we tax the amount which was emanated from the Federal Republic of Malawi. Although that amount was sent to abroad, but its origin is here through a company which is resident to Tanzania. A resident to Malawi. So even if that payment is routed through another country, but its source it is still here. So we will tax it because it belongs, it emanates from the Federal Republic of Malawi. Okay, so coming also to another part, the claimants have alleged that they heard the Commissioner General saying that even if we appeal to the Court of Appeal of Tanzania, Court of Appeal of Malawi, then the assessment would have been upheld because the same was objected. The objection to the Commissioner General of Malawi was denied. Then they further appealed to the Tax Revenue Appeals Board, to which the Commissioner's decision was upheld. Then they went to the Tax Revenue Appeals. They went to the Tax Revenue Appeals Tribunal. The same was upheld. So they quit there and decided to come to the International Forum. Without coming into mind that Section 26, sub 1 of the Tax Revenue Appeals Act provides that any person, the meaning ascribed to a person under the Income Tax Act, which means an individual, entity, corporate, or corporation, or partnership, any person who is aggrieved by the decision of the Tax Revenue Appeals Tribunal shall appeal to the Court of Appeal of the United Republic of Malawi. The same was not exhausted, but the BIT expressly provided that you have to exhaust the local remedies, and including the local remedies under the Federal Republic of Malawi, we have those four local remedies under taxation. The first one being objection to the Commissioner, the second one being going to trial, the third one being going to judge, and the final one being going to the Court of Appeal. But this appeal is premature because they did not exhaust those forums correctly. Also, coming to the third issue that says whether Mahathir government failed to protect the claimant's investments, whether Mahathir failed to protect the claimant's investment. Here I wish to refer to the laws of the Federal Republic of Mahathir. The Federal Republic of Mahathir uses tax laws uniformly to all residents and non-residents without any kind of discrimination. That's why if you see in 2022, 2023, together with 2024, the Central Bank of Mahathir issued public warnings against this kind of trade, but it did not target anyone. So, all I'm saying here is, to the right, whether Mahathir government has to protect the claimant's investment, like I said, that first of all, Mahathir has always been protecting the claimant's investment, has always been protecting the investment to the people of the investors in the Federal Republic of Mahathir. This one, I can cite a case of Sapna Electronics Limited versus Commissioner General Mahathir Revenue Authority, who was respondent, civil appeal number 120 of 2022. In this case, there were assessments issued concerning value-added tax. So these assessments were adjusted assessments, meaning that previously there was initial assessments. So under the initial assessment belonging to 2009 up to 2016. So the Commissioner General actually wanted the claimant here to pay the amount. Then the decision of Commissioner General was upheld by the trial, and also was upheld by the judge. But this appellant here, if the claimants had the same spirit like this appellant here, the Satna Electronics Limited, if had the same spirit like this appellant here, because to this appeal, the Court of Appeal reversed all the decisions, quashed all the decisions which were decided by previous courts.
Also, I'm not aware of the background of this case, but I think there is more evidence here that the government has more of an interest to harm the claimant's client's business. Basically, they've submitted tabloid evidence and statements and other things that try to say that the government had an ulterior motive behind these assessments. I don't think the background to the Sapna case should be the same, unless I stand to be correct.
Because I can say that the background to the Sapna case together with this one would not make any difference, because
I think claims of taking down a company, being behind news of an assessment, I think that would be a significant influence or a significant trigger for this tribunal to make a decision based on. Wouldn't you say so?
No, we know that judiciary is an independent entity. So even if there were other decisions that were given by other board or other authorities that were given.
I'm not referring to decisions, counsel. I'm saying they've showed us tabloids. We've seen tabloids on the record. We've seen statements on the record saying that the government is trying to cripple this foreign investor in favor of the local investment. So these allegations, being in the background of this assessment, wouldn't it be viable for this investor to feel like they are not protected? You are citing to us a case, which is, as I understand it, a typical tax dispute between a normal local taxpayer and the revenue authority. Do you think it's a comparable case to say that since this local taxpayer of a smaller investment on a smaller scale operation had a favorable ruling of the Court of Appeal, then our client, who is a foreign investor, who is now, the claimant who is a foreign investor who is money with rumors and speculation over the tabloids, are you going to equate? Are these cases distinguishable? Is what I'm trying to ask.
In answering that question, I can say that first of all, the tabloid has based its rumors. The tabloid, every single word that was written in the tablet, the allegations that there are crypto things coming to be opened later, that the government of Federal Republic of Malawi are quashing all the investment of foreign investors so as to raise the state-owned cryptocurrencies. All of those were baseless rumors because they were even written in brackets allegations. So I don't think this honorable court is here to determine on the allegation without the facts or evidences which are proper. So I refrain from using the tabloids because all the allegations which were made there does not hold any water. And if you see if you go to the facts, page 15, number 11, it says Malawi government public response. Malawi government public response. This response, it is what we should rely on because it comes from the government indeed. And it says we are simply enforcing tax laws, not blocking investments. Please ignore baseless rumors. So that means that Malawi was not there to cripple the investors' investments. But also, if you see the tax laws of the Federal Republic of Malawi, the Income Tax Act, the Tax Administration Act, even the VAT Act, you can see that it applies equally to all the entities and people who are involved there. For example, if maybe a certain service is begged to be charged to the rate of 18%, for example, the value-added tax for goods and services, then it will definitely apply to everyone. And also, if we go maybe withholding tax should be 5%, then if you do a service and then the law prescribes that the withholding rate will be 5%, then it will all be the same. It will never change because of where are you coming from. No, it will be the same across all investors. But also coming to the provision of Section 5, Sub 1 of the Malawi Revenue Authority Act, it provides that the Commissioner General shall act in good faith while doing the assessment, while collecting the taxes. So even this principle is enshrined in Malawi's tax laws, that everyone should act fair, everyone should not act in a discriminatory basis. And this is the spirit that we are working on. And this is the spirit that we are raising revenue for the Malawi. So also, having said so, let me go directly to the principles to which the claimants have asserted in this honorable tribunal that the Federal Republic of Malawi have reached. These principles are indeed four. The first one being creeping expropriation under the VAT. The first one. The second one being fair and equitable treatment. The third one being the most favored nation. And the fourth one being the national treatment. Coming to the first one, which is the creeping expropriation. By creeping expropriation, two meanings has been ascribed to it. The first one being taking the property for public use through adequate compensation. But the second one, it is taxing more than 30% to the claimant's investments. The claimants here are alleging that the tax is confiscatory because it is 6.08 billion. They say it's a very, very huge amount. But considering the facts, and what is their base? Because what they have done is they are just trying to take all the amounts which were collected. They are just trying to take all the amounts which were collected by them, then applying, comparing that even if we are successful to raise a revenue of 15 billion, 900 million, and 970 million, the tax of 6 billion is still very high. This is what they are saying. That taxing that amount, it is indeed very high. That's what they are saying. But is that so? Is that so that the claimants have been charged this amount is unfair to them? Because what they are doing, they are trying to take all the realization there and put a certain rate compared with the 6.08 billion. But mind you, considering that those were gained, which are different to gain tax previously on that amount, and the claimants asserted that that amount was with the amount that was collected from the people and sent to the Federal Republic, So, if they want to make that amount as a profit, or they want to make that amount as collected from the people due to the trade and sent there as a profit that we tax them, I can say that the allegation that 6.08 billion, that is too huge, it is still wrong, because if we go directly to the International Financial Reporting Standards, which is a standard guiding the preparation of the financial statement of companies, it actually separates the equity investment and the profits. Equity investment being the ordinary shares which give the owners the ownership of that company. So if you need this for the profit, if you need this for the amount of profit which they are saying that it has been taxed unfairly, then I can say that their calculations are baseless. Because even if they have not cited the real investment, but their calculations are baseless, because even if this amount is in the profit, there are two things that are involved here. Either you can split it twice. First one, you can add it as retained earnings to the equity investment, or second, another option, you can distribute it as dividend to the shareholders. So how sure are you that all of this amount was taxed? All of this amount was taxed and was not distributed as dividend or something to the shareholders. So actually, I can say that those rumors are baseless, because that amount, given the trading that they were doing, it is actually an appropriate amount following the calculations of the assessments, because the records, all of the records from Mahavi Revenue from all of the records from the Crypto Marketing Company Limited was scrutinized and seen where the problem lied. So actually, coming to the second point, which is fair and equitable treatment, this treatment demands that there shouldn't be arbitrariness or manifestation of justice to the investors, but also it says that there should be legitimate expectation and good faith. So the claimants are alleging that all of these principles have been preached by the Federal Republic of Malawi. That the due process was not fine, and actually there was injustice in that. But we, the Federal Republic of Malawi, say that the actions which the Malawi Revenue Office took was in line with the law. Because the law categorically says, if you do a certain transaction, you have to pay a certain tax. If you do a certain transaction, you have to pay a certain tax. And everything was in line with it. And everything was in line in the Income Tax Act, in the Tax Administration Act, and in the VAT Act of the Federal Republic of Malawi. So also, I've seen the claimants alleging that the Finance Act, which were used, was the Finance Act of 2024, which includes taxation of digital payments. If you read that act, indeed it has amended the Income Tax Act through Section 37. It has amended Section 83C of the Income Tax Act, which said that there will be withholding tax to the digital payments of 3%. You have to remember that the assessment, the initial assessment, was issued to the claimants on the 14th February of 2023. Even this act was not even in operation. So we issued the assessment even earlier than this act was in operation. So I wonder.
Where are you getting these dates? Can you read the tribunal? Where are you reading these dates from the case? Just read it.
Honorable Chair, Honorable President and members of the tribunal, I feel to read the facts. So under the initial assessment, under the initial tax assessment process, Malawi Tax Office, if you see at the top, the date is written 14th February 2024. 14th February 2024. So this assessment came earlier, even than came into existence of the Finance Act. The Finance Act of 2024 actually came into existence 1st of July 2024. It was even before that this assessment was issued. It was previous. So in this assessment, actually the rate which is provided under the new
if the assessment was issued prior to the amendment which, as the claimant have said, that is the amendment which introduces the chapter. So what was the basis of this assessment? Which law guided the taxing authority in preparing this assessment if there was no law?
No, the law was there. Because what was issued in 1st of July 2024, that was the Finance Act, amending the Income Tax Act. But the Income Tax Act, the Tax Administration Act, and the VAT Act have been there for a long time. And also, if you read the definition of assets, in the Income Tax Act, it includes even an intangible asset which has value. So if you include an intangible asset which has value, the crypto trading, if at all it's a crypto trading, it is also an asset which has value. But now, through the Mahab Revenue Office...
So the tax were imposed on digital assets?
No, the tax was not imposed on digital assets. What I'm trying to clarify, just for clarification, but not taxing on digital assets. What I'm trying to say is, even if the tax was imposed on marketing services, that's why marketing services was just like no other services in Mahabi, and was conducted by different kind of investors. So
you're telling us you impose capital gains tax at 10% on marketing services?
We imposed the capital gain tax of 10% because this amount emanated from the Federal Republic of Mahabi.
So what was it imposed on?
It was imposed because if you trade, because what we have to understand here is
what was it imposed on, counsel? There's not a lot of narrative. What were you charging 10% on? Is it intangible assets? Is it marketing services or something else?
I was charging 10% of capital gain. That's emanated from the realization of the crypto trades, which were emanated from the marketing services as a result of the climate actions. So, okay, coming to let me finalize the two last issues, which are most favored nation and the nation treatment. Under the most favored nation under the VAT, it expressly provides that no investor shall receive favorable treatment more than state investor. So, even if there are investors inside from Shireen and from Mahabi, no other third-party investor shall receive favorable treatment or being discriminated than these two investors. So, this principle of national treatment indeed was not breached in any way. Because the laws which are applicable to Mahabi apply. The laws which are applicable to Mahabi actually they are applicable consistently. Based on the tax laws of Mahabi. I've cited previously Section 4, Section 3, 4, and 5 of the VAT Act, which imposes the rate of 18%. But also, I have cited even the Income Tax Act and Section 105, which imposes the withholding taxes on services. But also, we have cited several laws. We have cited also the Tax Administration Act, which gives the Tax Administration Act together with the Tax Revenue Appeals Act, which gives the due process, every process of appeal, of objection, and everything. And all of these data, the claimants had, because even the laws are available, even online, you can download and read it. So their failure to read the law, ignorance of the law is not a defense. You cannot claim here that will tax while the law is specifically saying. So coming to the last part, which is the national treatment, it demands that both investors of Shireen and both investors of Bikan and Shireen and investors of the Federal Republic of Mahabi be treated fair. So there's no investor, neither from Mahabi nor from Shireen, should be discriminated. And we have seen that even if when the Central Bank of Mahabi were issuing these public notices, were issuing these public warnings, it did not cite a specific company. It issued to the public. So I pray to this honorable tribunal to make my prayers.
40 seconds.
Okay, so having said so, we pray before this honorable tribunal in declaration that this honorable tribunal lacks jurisdiction, but also we pray before this honorable tribunal that dismiss all claims alleging breach of the VAT but we also pray that the claimants lack locus standi, but also we pray before this Honorable Tribunal that the Federal Republic of Mojave have their rights to regulate, but also we pray before this Honorable Tribunal that the claimants bear full cost of this administration. And lastly, we pray that any other relief at this tribunal is just and equitable to grant. I humbly submit.
Thank you, Council. Quickly, let's jump into the rebuttals. No. 5 minutes are allocated to each party. Is that right, Vicky? Yes.
May it please the Tribunal, I'll be addressing my rebuttals for 3 minutes and my co-counsel will be using 2 minutes. Honorable arbitrators, it is so unfortunate that the respondent counsel have been relying on the Barcelona Fractions case. However, the Barcelona Fractions case does not reflect the current position under international investment law. The ICJ itself has expressed and it has departed from the Barcelona Fractions case position. If you read the case of USA versus Italy, a judgment of 1989, ICJ reports at page 15. The ICJ itself has departed from the Barcelona Fractions case, so it lacks probative value when it comes to adjudication of shareholders' rights. And in fact, it was never about shareholders' rights. It was busy dealing with diplomatic protection under international customary law. But also, the respondent has consistently been reading in and keeping new words under the provision. But also, the claimants have, the respondent have been keeping on pressing this tribunal on mere allegations. But honorable arbitrators, under Article 27 of Article 4 of the Legal Set of Rules, this tribunal is vested with power to determine the rules, admissibility, and the weight of each evidence that has been presented by the parties. And it is in this light, I'll guide this honorable tribunal to rely on objectivity tests that was enriched under the case of Yukos versus Russia. But also, the respondent has misled this tribunal when it came here and said Article 5.3b of the VAT has not imposed any threshold. But as you read between the lines, the Article 853 of the VAT 3b, it invokes the word accessible and reliable, which cannot be ignored when it comes to exhaustion of local remedies under international law. But also, the respondent has keeping on ignoring the exception that is itself ratified under Article 5.5 of the VAT that tax matters are exempted from arbitration unless when they violate specific VAT commitments. And this position was imposed in the case of Yukos versus Russia, while tax matters cannot be arbitrarily imposed against an investor. The respondent also have failed to address this tribunal on the matter of the validity of the termination of the VAT, which amounts to admission by failing to address that specific issue. Also, the respondent, the second counsel of the respondent, has considered that there is a significant control and ownership of the first claimant by Israeli investors, which substantiates our argument of rent control test for issue sub-issue 2. But also, the respondents have considered that they have always protected and accorded our investors much obliged. I'll welcome the broadcast.
Madam President and honorable dignified members of the tribunal, in essence, I will be rebutting concerning the baseless rumors which the respondent counsel has actually raised. But however, I would like to offer guidance before this honorable tribunal that this tribunal is not bound by the exclusion rules of evidence, which is actually known in other courts in national jurisdictions. So, and I take persuasiveness from Article 27, Sub-Article 4 of the UNCITRAL Model Rules on Arbitration. It categorically states that admissibility, relevance, materiality, and the weight of the evidence, this tribunal has actually brought this question in that aspect. And I further cement this argument by using the case of Yukos versus Russia, whereby the tribunal did accept media reports and public statements from officials as corroborated circumstantial evidence in order to assess the political motive behind the state's taxation measures. And furthermore, the respondent counsel has conceded concerning the aspects of the offshore profits. And this is a conduct which was condemned in the case of Vodafone versus India in the Permanent Court of Arbitration, whereby it was held that a state does not have the jurisdiction to tax offshore profits, because in that case, India were also attempting to tax profits which were made offshore. So this amounts to a concession. And furthermore, I humbly submit.
Madam President and members of the tribunal, the respondent would like to respond as follows. Considering the validity of termination, the termination has been, the VAT was terminated legally, and on the issuance of notice, when we look at paragraph 5 and Article 5, it requires notice to be issued it requires the notice to be issued. But if the party does not require with the tax regulation, then he cannot rely on the issuance of notice. But also on the structure of the company's ownership, the claimant claims that it favors them, but this argument are not that to be relied upon, since the claimant claims that the link between the Cryptoflix Company Limited and Cryptoflix Company Limited is direct, which is not true. The link between Cryptoflix Company Limited and Cryptoflix Company Limited is indirect, since it has been imposed by the Cryptoflix Company Limited. And considering the issue of Mahafi tabloid, those are just mere allegations without any proof, and the tribunal cannot rely on the hearsay evidence. Also, considering the other thing on shareholders, the claimant rely on the lifting of corporate rate, which I consider not to be applicable here, because we lift corporate rate to make the shareholders and the directors personally liable for their action in a company. But what we're trying to be discussing here is whether the shareholder can bring claims on behalf of the company. I would like to welcome my fellow counsel to proceed.
Thank you, President and honorable members of the tribunal. I will be speaking of the two issues that one being the exhaustion of local remedies, that this is not something to be taken lightly, as every country and every BIT, the clauses that were put there were not put there for joke, but were put there to be there too. And there are also consequences for non-adhering for the same. So you cannot you cannot be adhering to the laws and then later you come back and claim that the law has not been unfair to you. But also I want to invoke the substance of the whole principle, which state that the transactions should be looked on their economic reality rather than their legal form. What the claimants have done, they have structured a legal form so as to be like a parent, subsidiary, and subsidiary, but that is just a legal form. But the economic reality of the transactions, it is not as it is under the legal form. So I plead to this honorable court that those claims of the respondents be dismissed. I humbly submit.
Thank you. David? Comments? Should we comment anything now? All right, now that the most serious fight has ended, finally, again, for like the 6th or 7th time, congratulations. And I will not only speak to these teams now. I like even the audience, and I'm looking at that side, and I see that there's suits, so I'm sure there are teams that have been also through this process. So I'd like for you in the audience, the teams, to clap for yourselves, because you have all advanced tremendously in terms of shaping where you will be placed in this entire practice. So much will be said, a lot will be exchanged today. Absorb it all in. You'll meet so many people, you have met so many people, but ensure and remember that some of us will be passing by, some of us will be seasonal. But the first space of connection should be the main people who are your peers, the people you've started with. They will help you pinpoint, help you branch out, they will help you even find us who have been seasonal in your life. So take every moment, take every encounter as a very much ordained encounter to have, whether positive or negative. That entails that there's much work for you to do. So always be present. I will always repeat to say that. Be present as a person, be present as a person who's interested in this course you're taking, and be present as a person who's passionate about change. You know that you'll be speaking, you've been speaking about change here, digital flows and things like that, but that does not get interrupted. That should not interrupt your own personal growth, your own personal direction. So my name is April. I am an investment advisor and a lawyer. I practice in mainland and we're also present in Zanzibar. I used to be a coach, and I still am. I used to be a mooter, and I am a judge as well. I'm happy to always make time to participate in any form of MootCourt competition so that I can get to be able to see the upcoming young talent, but at the same time to show them that we see them. Because in our time, everybody will testify however they've come up. That opportunity comes rarely. And also, it's not something that you can blame your seniors, but it's also the matter of life. Just life, lifing, and also duties, big duties. So ensure that you're always refocusing and re-strategizing your placement. Things have no direct formula, things have no direct answer. But ensure that you can even decide to grow through us, right here. Every single one of us have given each other opportunities. Every single one of us that you see that could be your seniors have worked together, intend to work together, or foresee some form of collaboration because of these ongoing the commitments that we also place on ourselves. So, before you come to the money bag, make sure that you do the time. And doing the time doesn't have to be strenuous. Doing the time doesn't have to feel like it's a chore. It has to come from within you. And seeing, I don't know, at this point, guys, you guys are good. All of you guys are good. The teams, I would just say, we've attended 5 MootCourt competitions, but I'm seeing the exponential pace and growth of how quickly you adopt the changes we provide as judges to your next sessions. That is what to all of you as a team. All of you, I'm not talking specifically to anyone. Because we've seen that today, we've been talking about it as judges. And then the cherry on top was the fact that we had to sit, in for 2 hours here, seeing the teams that have come from you guys. Final, go head to head. And let me tell you, it's come from you guys. That means you are the best of the best. So take that, ride with it, and learn from each other. There is no success without collaboration. There is no success moving up alone. Hold each other's hands as a team and make sure you climb together, nurturing your strengths and weaknesses. So I'm just in awe at the quality of the delivery of the workmanship and the teams advancing each time. And this case wasn't easy. But I'm lucky to also be a part of understanding a matter that is actually, of course, is something that is within all of our practices. And to some of you, you've clarified a few things in your submissions for some of us. And to some of you, you've also shown great potential to have people. I'm sure you guys have seen us smiling, where we broke character as judges because of how impressed we were. So take that. We have gone through human rights moot courts, East African moot courts, Vienna moot courts, United States moot courts, and so many others. So you've seen the standard and quality. And I can say right now, you guys are way over there. Don't even look to your side or your neighboring countries. You guys possess the same amount of power and ability to win. And I've witnessed another team just recently just proved that to me as well in a different MootCourt competition where they had only 3 or few days and managed to come back with all the 3 awards, trusting that process and negotiation. Understand that you're Tanzanian and walk with the style and the personality that is embodied by a Tanzanian. You might say let's just say a Tanzanian is more calm, collected, relaxed. You might not think that they have the power that you might be hearing from other more presentable states or countries when you get to compete even at an East African level. But trust me, the style in which Tanzania holds is a silent and a very lethal one if it is actually nurtured. Because you won't know what's coming. I won't say much. In the event we won't see each other any other time, remember these faces and fight to make sure you connect with them, you learn from them, you use us to go up as well. Congratulations.
As April has spoken, congratulations to all the competitors and participants in this moot. My name is Frederickson Mboko. I'm a tax consultant. I'm also a former participant of this competition, so I have sat in the place that you have sat, and I have felt all of the emotions that you have felt over the last 3 days. I think there are many phases to this whole process. There is the moment when we are anxious about a deadline for submitting the written memorials. There is the days when the judge is grilling you and you don't know what to say because you've not read that act and you don't know what to say to this person. And there's a moment you feel like a judge maybe is being tough on you, or maybe you're not as prepared as you should be. I promise you that won't change in your life. That will not change in your life, and you can ask anyone. You will go to a court one day and you'll be asked a question and you'll be there like, okay, I'm getting paid for this. I need to smarten up a bit. I think you should congratulate yourself and you should not be hard on yourself just because maybe you're not sitting on the finalist desk, or maybe if you're a finalist, you're not the winner. You shouldn't think of this from the perspective of it was simply a competition. I think it speaks more to your character. It speaks more to the type of person you are, that you're here on a Sunday. You could be at home, you could have been relaxing, you could have been at church, but you're here, you're working on your career, developing your passion. I think that says a lot about you as a participant, and that makes you very special. There's a lot of advocates that are already enrolled, a lot of people who are coming to get enrolled. So the fact that you're in this room now, it means to a degree you're way ahead of the people that you are supposed to be, for lack of a better word, competing with. So what you should do is carry the spirit and the passion you have for your career, carry the spirit and the passion you have for the law. You're already a winner by virtue of being here, because I'm pretty sure there are more than 50 teams or more than 100 teams. I'm not sure about the numbers that submitted memorials and wanted to be in the oral rounds. So you've probably written a better argument than a lot of people, a lot of students, a lot of whatever people who submitted. So you're already a winner by virtue of being in this room. I think the question now becomes, how can I take the experience I've had here? How can I take the access that I've gotten from meeting the people here? How can I get the knowledge that I've gotten from these people and from this experience to carry forward and carry on in my career and let it allow me to grow in the right direction? So I would encourage each and every one of you to think about your growth, think about what you want to do, and to not lose the spirit that brought you here on a Sunday, that made you work for 2 months. Don't lose that spirit, because that is what will differentiate the winners and the not so winners, because there are no losers in life. So thank you guys.
Hi, I'll keep it simple. As you could see, I was smiling a lot. I broke the character hundreds of times. But you know what? As you were speaking, I got to realize some of you are doing your LLB, some of you are in law school, and we were bombarding you with questions which an advocate with 5 years experience will probably be struggling with as well. But you know what? That's the life of a lawyer. One lesson you should learn from this, which I saw on both sides. I have to give it up to you, my girl. You did your thing. You held your own. All you guys, you stood on your grounds. Whether or not I liked your legal reasoning is another issue, but you stuck to your points at all costs, even though I tried my best to convince you to otherwise. And I knew you knew that I was trying my best to convince you otherwise. So I liked your grit. I liked the fire in you. But let's be real, law is not easy, it is hard, but law is a privilege. So when I agree with you, it's because when you walk out of this room and when you become a lawyer, one of these days you realize what a privilege it is to be a lawyer, and you earned this spot. So yes, congrats for making it this far. This is, as a lawyer, this is just one of the millions of competitions you get to fight. Every day of being a lawyer is a fight. It's a fight for the client, it's a fight to win in court, it's even a fight when you get home. For some of us, between husband and wife, you won't stop lawyering. You wake up, you go to sleep, you have lunch being a lawyer. But you know what? It is such a privilege and such a joy that I'm sure one of these days when I'm retired, you'll remember what I said. It is such a brilliant profession, and you guys are going to make such brilliant lawyers, and I'm so proud of you.
I'll be short in words. I believe you don't become who you want to become by desiring, but it is by doing. And you attending this session is an investment. You are trying to invest in yourself because you desire to become better, and that's why you opted to invest. I believe the organizers received so many applications. All those were also trying to invest. But out of all those so many, you emerged the good writers, and that's why we see you in this venue. So congratulations to everyone who participated, because you are now trying to do, because you want to achieve something. My name is Rebuttal Mosomola, and the University of Dar es Salaam is my employer.
Thank you so much. Well, I mean, you guys have done quite well. Okay, you're really good. I don't think there's anything to add. I like the emotional touch you brought. I think that was quite good. You know, sort of being a little bit dramatic. That was nice.
You called down the judges.
I think I really like it. Yeah, honestly. And
How is
you
yourself
also,
in real life?
no, David, I think you also did the same thing. That was quite good. Of course, you confused me with the math, but I think I understood it. That was okay. But in general terms, you're doing so well. Above the threshold. Trust me. I think you can even beat up more experienced lawyers than you can imagine. So I really congratulate all of you. And to finish, of course, I'm coming from the University of Dar es Salaam, and this is my boss. Okay. And as you understand, let me finish with your quote. I think it's time to dance with the regulations. Okay.
Yeah.